All right, check the hair. Satisfactory. Okay, hi everybody. My name is Professor Zrubin, and I am going to be your instructor for Bio 101. Just want to welcome you to the class. Excited to have you here, and really look forward to getting to know you guys and to hopefully impart a deeper love and appreciation for the natural world as we go through the class this semester. So the goal of this first video, introduce you to Bio 101. What can you expect from this course? And first off, there's no textbook, all right? Yay, all right, save some money. Instead of a textbook, we're gonna have online readings, and I'm gonna have videos like this one that are gonna be posted online for you to watch almost every night, at least one each night before you come to class, and sometimes there'll be a couple there. All right, so that's first things first. So don't need to go out to the bookstore, buy anything. Everything is going to be online. So that means that this is going to be a flipped class. No, you may or may not have had flipped classes in the past, and if you have, this is going to be comfortable and familiar to you. If you haven't, it's going to be a little weird. The lectures are going to be on your own. And what we're going to spend time doing during class is discussing the content that I put in these videos and questions, problems that I'll pose to you. And we're also going to spend a hefty amount of time outdoors, specifically in our very own Heritage Garden. All right, so that's kind of the general layout of this course. What about the topics? What are we going to cover? Well, contrary to what I think most students believe about biology when they enter this course, we are going to focus on just four big ideas as we go through the semester. All right. I've found that in my teaching, most students come into biology thinking that if they just memorize 2,852 facts by creating those really long Quizlets or using Memrise or some other program, they're going to do just fine. And that's all they need to do. They'll get through the course, check that box for their GE, and be on their way. That's not biology. Biology does require a base knowledge, and that base knowledge is useful for us to communicate with each other, you to me to you, and for you guys to communicate to each other as classmates. But it is not the end of the road. We use that knowledge then to try to create connections. Connections between what we're learning and what we see in the real world. And that is my goal, is to really impart those connections on you by focusing on big ideas, ideas that encompass many different aspects of biology, many different organisms or systems, and help you to create those connections. Because in doing that, you're gonna look outside and you're gonna look at the world around you, and it's gonna make a little bit more sense. And that is the hope through this course. So what are those four big ideas? Big idea number one. Take a look at the fish in this fish tank. I am in 103, Founders Hall 103. See these little fish in here? These are called zebrafish. They are a great experimental model for scientific research. Now, they may all look similar or maybe identical to you. They may be all roughly the same size, have the same striping pattern, etc. But if you were to look a little bit deeper, not just on the outward appearance, but actually go inside and look at, let's say, their DNA sequences, you would find that they are not identical to each other. They are different in terms of DNA sequences, right? There is genetic diversity within this population, same place, same time, same space, of zebrafish, all right? So if we were to look at the genetic diversity today, and we were to fast forward in the zebra population, I don't know, 3 years from now, and we were to measure that genetic diversity again, and we found that the genetic diversity had changed, we would say that this population of zebrafish is evolving. That's it. So we're going to look at evolution and what that means for the world around us. Okay? The next big idea is, so we need energy to grow, to reproduce, to survive, to respond to our environment, to maintain some equilibrium or homeostasis with the environment around us. That energy does not come from within ourselves, it comes from somewhere outside of ourselves. Ultimately, our energy comes from the sun. But if you look at these fish again in this fish tank, where does their energy come from? Well, their energy doesn't come directly from the sun. Their energy comes from Aqueon shrimp pellets for tropical fish, goldfish, loaches, catfish, and other bottom feeders. So that's where their energy comes from, because inside of these pellets, we have a bunch of different macromolecules. Well, premium ingredients. Ooh, exciting. Let's see what we got in here. Ingredients: shrimp meal, so just ground up shrimp, whole fish meal, ground up fish, and a bunch of other stuff. All right, so packed inside of each one of these shrimp pellets is energy, and that energy is locked up in the chemical bonds there. And in order for these fish to survive, I need to continue to put energy in here. So let's do that right now. Let's feed these fish. All right, let's see what happens. All right, look at that. Big idea number 2 in action. Okay. This is so exciting. All right. The next thing we're going to talk about is a fancy term that simply means this. As you combine 2 or more cell types in an organism, or 2 or more organs within an organism, or 2 or more organisms, or 2 or more species, and put them in the same area, things begin to come out that did not exist when you had either cell by itself, or either organ by itself, or either organism by itself, or either species by itself. So for example, what you see in here is an emergent property. This emergent property is competition. You see these zebrafish are competing with each other for access to the food. Competition does not exist within one zebrafish, right? It emerges once you put 2 or more in the same area. And then you can also see competition between goldfish and zebrafish, or between crayfish and goldfish, or crayfish and crayfish. Right? We call those emergent properties. We're going to talk about that through the context of this course, throughout this course, rather. All right? And then the very last one is... Now, I realize that information is a very broad term, and you may be a little confused because it is so broad as to what exactly I mean. Well, we're going to talk about different aspects of information. One, we're going to talk about information transfer. So how does information transfer occur within the cells of these zebrafish, or this goldfish, or this crayfish right here? And when we speak of it that way, we're really talking about information as coded for by, or within DNA. Inside of every single one of our cells, we have this molecule called DNA. And you may have learned from middle school that DNA is like, or the nucleus is like the library of the cell, because it contains all these books. And these books we call chromosomes, and inside of the books is information in the form of DNA. So that's when we talk about information transfer, talking about DNA. How does that information move from DNA ultimately to make something called a protein? Other types of information transfer that we'll talk about is an ability of an organism to respond to information that it gains from its exterior or its external environment. So for example, you have the zebrafish swimming around right here. If I were to make a loud noise, that is information that is going to make its way into the brain of the zebrafish. Now, once that happens, what do you think is going to occur? So I'm just going to slap on the table. Do it again. And you can see that the zebrafish are responding to the noise. So information is being transferred from my hand in the form of sound to the zebrafish, and they're responding in a way that is appropriate for them, right? And so we're going to talk about information transfer from the exterior environment to the organism itself, and some aspects surrounding that. Okay? And the very last thing I want to emphasize about the structure of this course is how can you succeed in this course? Now, I have a very different definition of success than I've found many of my students carry in with them. And this definition of success was given to me by a mentor of mine many years ago. He said that success is making the most with what you have been given. And I believe all of us have been given a certain level of abilities, talents, intellect, whatever it is. And my goal for you is to be successful in this course by making the most of the abilities that you have. Your ability to reason, your ability to think, your ability to act, your ability to speak and ask questions, and your ability to put work and effort into an endeavor. And the reason why I'm showing you this turtle is I think this turtle is a great example of how not to approach the class. If you approach the class like a turtle, what you will do is you will sit in your seat politely every class, show up, and just soak in the information. You're going to take it all in like this turtle is soaking in the heat from this light. And you're going to end up just doing nothing, sitting there. And if you do that, you're going to get very little out of this course. I think this course is going to be rather boring to you, and you're going to treat it as a box to check. But if you are more actively engaged in what we do in this course by reciprocal actions, so for example, you listen to a video that I produce, you take some notes on that video, it brings out some questions, you take those questions, you ask a classmate, or you bring them to class and ask me, you're engaging in a more reciprocal relationship in this course. And it's through that type of relationship that true love of learning, I think, is fostered. And I want you to love this course. I want you to love that you have an opportunity to come to Concordia University and learn. And that's a joy, and that's a gift that you have been given. And my hope is that as you go through this course, that becomes more and more real to you if it isn't already. So to succeed in this course, don't be like our turtle. Even though I love turtles, this turtle's awesome, I don't want you to approach this course like this turtle, to just sit and soak up and be on your way. I want you to engage. I want you to wrestle with things in your mind. I want you to bring questions. I want you to ask those questions to me, to your classmates. And it's okay if we don't arrive at an answer right away. It might take some time, but there is joy in that journey. Okay? All right. Look forward to having you in the course.